just finished our third day of this week, I believe OTA 9. One more tomorrow. We'll get in the red zone tomorrow. So the guys are really working very hard out there. They're taking coaching. They're really focusing on the basics, the alignment, the assignment, the technique. So we're going slow and really teaching. And then I just think the guys are working really hard. So another good day tomorrow. And then looking forward to mandatory minicamp. And that'll be the last week of the off-season program. And then we'll take a little bit of a break. But excited about where we are, and the guys are working. So I appreciate that. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Coach. The first one will come from Tom Withers.
Thank you, Rob. Hey, Coach. Kudos to the DJ. You can tell him to keep the Pearl Jam coming. Hey, it looked like Grant and Greedy were both doing a lot more today. Have they both been fully cleared?
Well, you're welcome for that first song there, Tom. They're working through it. I think they're both on pace. They're doing a great job. We're going to be smart about it as we ramp them up through the next couple of weeks into training camp. We'll be smart about it, but they're all hitting all their benchmarks.
And as far as Greedy's concerned, and we haven't talked to him since the injury last year, Kevin, you talked about how hard he was working week in and week out to get back last year. And while you didn't get to learn a lot about him as a player, what did that tell you about his character?
Yeah, Tom taught me a ton about him. I just think he like anybody going through an injury, had some tough moments there. But when he was in this building, he had a smile on his face. He worked really hard in that training room. And I can tell you, we're all really excited to see him out on the field going through drills. It's definitely to watch somebody rehab like he did. We're excited about where he's going. And he's got some more work to do. But just to see him back on the field, C26 working was great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next is Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin. Obviously, you guys put out a statement last night about Cali Brownson. We didn't see her on the field today. I was just wondering if you could give us an update on, where she's at, what the discipline is for Cali.
Yeah, as you guys know, extremely disappointed. We take these things very seriously. We're working with the league on appropriate discipline. Callie's obviously very remorseful, and she's going to learn from this, and we'll support her along the way.
Kevin, can you say, I'll just ask you flat out, will this cost her job with the Browns?
No.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Nate. Next is Jeff Shadell. Jeff, if you could hit unmute on your end, please.
Back with Greg Newsom and Troy Hill added to that bunch.
Jeff, we missed the first half of your question, if you would mind restarting.
I'm going to ask you about the depth you have now at cornerback with Greedy getting better, Greg Newsom adding Troy Hill to the mix.
Yeah, Jeff, I really like that group. You mentioned those guys. I think there's a bunch of guys in that group that push each other, that are working really hard right now. And this is the fun part where we can go through individual drills, we can slow it down and teach. And I can tell you each one of those guys, they're pushing each other. So depth is a good thing, and it's a really good group.
Thanks, Jeff. Dan Lobby has our next question.
Hey, Kevin. I've got a question kind of looking ahead to training camp. And with preseason dates now kind of known, would joint practices still be on the table for you guys this year? Is that something you've thought about or even kind of locked in at this point?
Yeah, we're going to have 2 joint practices versus the Giants ahead of our week 2 game with them. So they'll be coming to us to practice.
Okay. And then for you, I mean, what do you, especially with one less preseason game, how important are those joint practices for you guys?
Yeah, I think they're great. Over the years, I've done them, and I think you can get a ton out of them. It certainly ramps up the intensity, but guys take care of each other, know that they're getting in good work ahead of a game. So I just think it's a great time to, in a controlled environment, get really good work against different schemes than your own.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Dale Ryder, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you've talked a lot about this being the learning phase here of the offseason. So just kind of wanted to get your take on your rookie class and what you've observed from them, how they've been picking things up. And I know you don't like singling guys out, but I'm going to ask you to do so. Maybe one or two guys that really have stood out here since arriving.
Yeah, Daryl, they're all sponges. They've been with us since rookie mini camp, and they've gotten incredible attention. And I think they're all doing a nice job, and they're all going at their own pace. And we understand that everybody's different. So some guys are spending more time in the book. Some guys are spending extra time out there on the practice field. As you imagine, I'm not going to single anybody out, but I'll just tell you, as a class, I've been really pleased with the work that those guys are putting in.
I had to ask you. You'll have to forgive me. I wanted to ask you also, Case being in this week and getting some work in, just how invaluable is it having someone of his experience around some of these young guys? And then also, too, the second part, with Baker working with guys in Austin, are you and your staff kind of really communicating with them about what they should be working on their own?
Yeah, Case being here, he wanted to come in and get some work with the guys, and excited to have all these guys here, the guys that are out there working. As far as it relates to Baker and what's going on down there, my jurisdiction for the off-season program doesn't extend past Berea.
Thank you, Daryl. Scott Patrick, you're up.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, where does the roster stand regarding vaccinations?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, Scott, because I don't know it off the top of my head. But we're working real hard, educating the guys, and we'll continue to do so.
And how important do you think it is to meet that threshold, whatever it is, so you don't have to go through not only all the protocols, but the risk of losing guys during games?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is it's a something you're doing to help the greater good. So I want to make sure that guys are taking care of themselves, taking care of their community, their family, et cetera. And then you're right, there is a competitive advantage to this. So we're going to continue to educate the guys and work with them as such.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Mary Kay Cabot is up.
Yeah, Coach, just to follow up on Cali for a minute. First of all, I know how much it means to you and how, just how you feel about her in terms of wanting to develop her as a head coach. So can you just address that I'm guessing how you think this impacts her as a person in your own mind, if it does anything to how you feel about her? And then also, I think Nate asked where is she today? And is she on a suspension, and is she coming back next week, or can you give us any details on that?
Yeah, Mary Kay, first I'll tell you, yes, she is suspended. When it comes to the rest of the discipline, we're working with the league on that. I just reiterate what I said. She's extremely remorseful. I've spoken to her many times, and she'll learn from this, and hopefully we'll all be in a better place after this. But I'm disappointed. She's disappointed, and again, we'll just work through all the particulars.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll go to Tony Grossi.
Hey, Kevin, since we didn't have preseason last year, we don't have a read on what your philosophy is in playtime. And has it been modified as a result of the modified preseason and extended regular season?
Yeah, Tony, we'll have a plan, but I want to stay open-minded as we get through training camp and see where we are. And, I don't want to be so dogmatic and say the players are playing X number of plays in week 1, week 2, week 3. I do think without that 4th week, really you kind of stay on the normal schedule, if you will. The 3rd preseason game will be how you treated the 3rd preseason game in years past. But I want to make sure that we take in all the information prior to making decisions on how much guys are playing.
And as a result of these past 2 OTA seasons that you've had to go through as your first 2 years as coach, do you have the analytics department kind of like coming up with a better plan in the future and how to operate during this time as a result of the NFLPA's concerns and also what you've been through?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Tony. As you saw out there at practice today, the rules are made so that this is a passing camp, so to speak, with the guys just in helmets. The old days of having full speed team drills and guys getting knocked around and getting helmets in the shoulders. We're not doing that. So we go at a pace that's conducive to teaching and conducive to learning. And then 7-on-7 is really where you're getting a bulk of the work done. The technique work is during the individual drills, which have been outstanding. And again, the guys are working really hard. But that's something, Tony, that we want to make sure that we're being smart about player safety.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tony. We're going to take three more. Fred Greetham, Nate Ulrich, Scott Petrick. Fred, go ahead. Fred, if you could please unmute your line.
Now you got me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As much of a priority is at safety, can you just talk about how important it was to have John Johnson here and out there and running around and getting to be implemented a little in the offense or in the defense?
Yeah, it's good to see all those guys, Fred. John is new to the program, so I think he's really getting a lot out of it in terms of the communication, the calls, those type of things. You know, we're covering that on the Zoom call, as you know, but I think there's value in him being around his teammates, all those guys, being around each other, making calls. They're doing a nice job.
Thanks.
Thanks, Fred. Nate Ulrich, we'll go to you.
Hey, Kevin, just another follow-up on Cali. Is she suspended by the Browns and you're working with the league on the duration or additional suspension? Like, I'm a little confused. Can you clear that up?
Yeah, she's suspended by the Browns, and we're working with the league to finalize any discipline that they may have.
Okay. And I did want to squeeze one other thing in, Kevin, unrelated to that. I've seen you at the Myles Garrett, art unveiling in downtown. I've seen, pictures of you at Kareem Hunt's charity event recently. I'm just wondering, why is it important for you to kind of show up when players have events? And is there a chance we'll see you at Jarvis's softball game?
I think it's important to support the guys, Nate, when they're out in the community and they're doing the right thing and they're raising awareness for charities. I just want them to know that I have their back. I don't know that I've been invited to Jarvis's. He must have the scouting report on my baseball career because I didn't get the invite.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. And the final question for Coach goes to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, I know you said Greedy's hitting all the benchmarks. Because it was such a, sensitive injury in that shoulder, does he still have to clear a hurdle as far as hitting and tackling to make sure he's going to be good to go for real games?
I think, Scott, like with any injury, it's a process and there's benchmarks with all of these injuries. So we'll work at an appropriate pace with him, clear some hurdles this week and next, and then see where he is. And I'll work with the medical staff, as you know, to come up with a plan as we begin camp.
But your belief is he'll still be 100% either camp or regular season?
That's the goal here.